Incontestability. The incontestability clause is in effect always for the first 2 years of a life insurance policy. And what that means, during that 2-year time period, if an insurance company discovers that an insured committed material misrepresentations on an application, meaning they lied on an application about information that would have been important for the underwriters to know in order to make a proper decision about, is this person a good risk or not, or how risky are they? Well, then they lied, it would void out the contract and they would not pay any claims. So it's a very important thing, of course, for the insurance companies. They're always looking out for people who are, trying to kind of slip something by. So that's why this clause is attached to life insurance policies. Remember, it's 2 years. I'll give you a saying. Liars pray for 2 years and then they're covered. Because if the insurance company doesn't discover that you lied until 2 years and 1 day after the policy was created, went into effect, they can't do anything about it. So there is that set time frame of 2 years, incontestability. There is another thing I want you to remember about incontestability, could be a test question. Incontestability doesn't apply to non-payment of premium. I mean, any time that you don't pay your premium on time and you get beyond the grace period, that could cause your policy to lapse. So the incontestability period doesn't come into play. And also, if there is a misstatement of age, gender, or identity. Now, again, these conditions and clauses were created a long time ago, usually before computers were invented. But typically with a misstatement of age, gender, or identity, what they do, and this could be a test question, is how do they deal with that? Because oftentimes they don't find out about this kind of situation until the person dies and they get a death certificate that says they're actually 3 years older than they told the insurance company they were, because they lied about their age because they wanted a cheaper premium, right? So the person has now died. They can't go back to the insured and say, hey, you need to give us more money. So what do? They lower down the death benefit that is paid out to the beneficiary. They'll say, okay, we now know you were actually 3 years older, so we'll go back to our rate charts from the year you took out the contract and we'll figure out how much insurance that would have bought. And then that lower death benefit is what is paid out to the beneficiary. So basically, if they find a misstatement of age, later on after the insured has passed away, the beneficiary gets a lower death benefit payout. Reinstatement. Every insurance company has to have some type of reinstatement policy in place. So why would somebody want to reinstate or basically put a lapsed policy back into force? Well, for one thing, if you get to keep your old policy or get your old policy back, it's going to be based on the age you were when you took out that policy that is lapsed. So you get to keep that. Also, the old policy might have some features on it that are no longer offered on some of the new policies issued by the company. So that could be another reason why you want to go back and, get that policy. So whatever reason caused you to lapse it, you do have the ability to go back and try to get it reinstated. There is no guarantee. The insurance company is not required or mandated by law to automatically just reinstate. You have to fill out a reinstatement application. You have to pay all the overdue premiums for however many years the policy has been lapsed, plus interest on those premium payments. Most companies also have a time frame. You can only go back on a lapsed policy so many years, typically, for example, 5 years. If the policy has been lapsed longer than 5 years, you wouldn't be able to reinstate it. Another thing, if you had loans on the policy when the policy lapsed, you now have to pay those back with interest as all part of the reinstatement process. And one of the other big things that you as the insured have to do is you have to provide proof of insurability. That means that you have to go through a physical. Sometimes people let a policy lapse because they think they don't need it. And then at some point in the future, they find out that maybe now they have some kind of health condition and they want to reinstate the policy. Well, they have to go through a physical in order to show the insurance company that they are well enough, healthy enough to get the policy back. And of course, if they can't get through the physical, can't pass it, then they would not be able to reinstate either. So reinstatement is there. It is not a guaranteed thing, and there are lots of steps that the insured has to go through in order to get a policy reinstated. let's talk about misstatement of age. Misstatement of age is a provision. It adjusts the amount of insurance death benefit to match the amount of premium that's actually been paid in. Why do people lie about their age? They never make themselves older. They always make themselves younger because they get a lower premium, right? So if the insurance company finds that out, they are going to lower down the death benefit because oftentimes they don't find out that a person has lied on the application about their age until the person passes away and they have a different age showing up on the death certificate than what they had when they wrote the policy. So of course that person that was insured is no longer alive. They can't go get more premium. That would be the wrong answer, asking the insured for more money. You're not here anymore, typically. So what they do is they'll go back and look at what the rates were when they took out the policy, and they will lower down the death benefit because they know how much money was paid in, and they'll just lower down the death benefit to meet the amount of premium that was actually taken in. So in essence, the beneficiary gets a smaller death benefit. That's how it works. So the death claim, when it was filed, usually is the giveaway that someone was not accurate on their age, and then they'll go ahead and reduce the death benefit down. That oftentimes is a test question about misstatement of age. What did they do when they discover it? That's the question, and that's usually the answer. Reduce the death benefit down that is paid to the beneficiary. With misstatement of age, what happens if they find out about the misstatement of age while the insured is still alive? Well, in a situation like that, the insured is going to be offered two choices. They can pay the difference in what they should have been paying in premium and what they really did pay, or they can take a reduced death benefit, have it automatically reduced down to what their premiums actually paid for. So they give the insured a choice. And of course, if you had overstated your age and said you were older than you were, then of course the insurance company has taken in too much premium and they would refund you that overpayment of premium.